So Greg Nance has, he is the co-founder of two different organizations that focus on helping young people, especially those who are underprivileged or who don't have the same connections maybe that everybody else does, um, to navigate college, getting into college, financing, all of that, finding scholarships. So there's two different organizations that he has founded to help young people with that. He is also a sponsored ultra marathoner, who has now, on his website it was 11, but I looked it up and I believe now it's 12 fastest known times. And he's working on a run across America. There is an upcoming film, a documentary that they are working on called 1 in 7, that is going to follow this run of his, that he is also focusing on highlighting the addiction crisis in America. That's just a few things. He is also, he's a Brooks Global Ambassador. Brooks, the running shoe. Um, our daughter Riley was very excited to know that I was talking to a Brooks ambassador because that's her favorite shoe. And he's also a Seattle Seahawks ambassador. So like I said, I mean, this is just a few of the many things that he has done and accomplished. So I welcome you, Greg. Thank you so much for being willing to be a part of our last word Lenten luncheon. So welcome, take it away.
Thank you so much, Mother Kelly. I'm grateful for this opportunity. And I'm very grateful to my friend, longtime buddy, Tim Pullen, for the invitation here. Um, it is really wonderful joining y'all today. Um, I am a Seahawks super fan, though part of the intro that wasn't mentioned is Pat Mahomes is actually my second favorite quarterback. Y'all have a true treasure there. And on the defensive line, Frank Clark was actually one of my favorite Seahawks. So I was bummed to see him leave, but great that he joined Chiefs Kingdom there. Um, I'm really honored for the opportunity to be here on for Last Word, and I want to share a few stories from my journey, and I want to share a big lesson that I'm learning right now, that I've been learning through my 32 years on this planet. And the deeper I dive into these couple principles, the more joy that I find, the more reflections that I'm able to attain. And um, yeah, I hope something that I can share from my journey resonates for you and your families as we begin this Lenten season. So I'm going to share my screen. Inevitably, there'll be a tech hiccup or two, but I appreciate your patience in advance as we get going. Alrighty, I'm gonna click share screen. I hope that works. Okay. Can y'all see here? Is that coming through? Excellent. Okay, cool. Um, my principle that I'm learning to live by is follow your smile. Follow your smile. And I want to share with y'all a journey from ambition and addiction to a path to purpose. My story begins in Seattle, my hometown. This is a shot of my family. There's my dad in the top left, my mom with the cool sunglasses, my aunts who are really close to us, a bunch of cousins, and then the little guy holding the garbage can at the zoo. That's me. This is about 1990. And we are having a great time because I have a super fun, happy, carefree childhood with my cousins, with my brother and sister, with my parents, and with my extended family. I loved playing baseball. If you ever saw me outside of school, I had a baseball in my hand, a glove on, or I'm swinging a bat. That's when I'm happiest. When I'm playing ball, or basketball season comes around, then I'm dribbling around. If it's football season, I've got my comically oversized shoulder pads on out there. I'm doing something active, and I'm moving around, and I'm playing with friends. Um, I also love playing on teams. This is probably the high watermark of my baseball career. You're looking at the 1999 Bainbridge Island Little League champion over here. That's me, very cold in the front row in the left. And this amazing team taught me so much about what it is to set a big goal. We wanted to be the league champs. And 3 months later, we did it all together. Incredible experience that made me happy to go out there and compete and have fun. Around this time, um, I started applying myself in school for the first time and joined the debate team during high school. A couple of years after this shot was taken is actually how I ended up meeting my longtime buddy Tim Pullen. Debate opened my eyes to uh, all this excitement around all of the ways in which we can learn and enrich our minds. And it was incredible, especially competing with this amazing set of teammates that I had. This is around the time, though, where I began putting a lot of pressure on myself. Going into high school, I'm from a place called Bainbridge Island, Washington. It's a really nice public school system. This debate team actually consistently wins the state championship. And so I thought, hey, I need to win state if I'm going to be a good teammate. And so all of a sudden, I'm putting really, really high standards on myself, and my own kind of personal competitiveness and ambition starts becoming a big source of stress and pressure that I'm feeling, especially after I'm elected captain of this debate team. The stress, the pressure, the expectations start increasing, and a lot of that's just me putting that on me. As I now recognize in retrospect, because I'm partially following my smile, partially doing something I love, but also adding all of this new pressure and stress to it. Around the same time, my hero, this is Grandpa Charlie. Grandpa Charlie was a Marine during the Second World War. He actually was on one of the boats at Iwo Jima, fighting with his men. Incredible, incredible person who actually I had the amazing opportunity to live with during middle school and high school. He moved up to Seattle from down south, and I just learned so much from Grandpa Charlie. He was one of the few adults I felt like really kind of understood me, and we could talk about big stuff like history or tonight's ball game, or hey, there's this girl in school, how do I get her to like me back? We could, this sort of relationship. And uh, he's also a wonderful sounding board for my little high school debate ideas, because he's, very, very um, informed individual and just enjoys supporting me. He is my biggest mentor, my hero, my role model. And then one moment, he goes from being the strongest person I know to having a massive debilitating stroke where he hardly remembers who I am. And that is crushing, because I feel so powerless. I want to do anything I can to be there for him the way he's been there for me. And yet that's not the way it goes. That there was nothing I could do except feel sad and feel overwhelmed by these feelings. And as a 16-year-old, I didn't have the emotional toolkit to deal with this in healthy ways. And so I began uh, drinking more and more alcohol with my friends on the weekends. First, parties, very common teenage deal. But before too long, after school, would meet with a couple of those buddies, and we'd do that. And then within a few weeks and months, we're drinking in the parking lot before school. Especially a buddy of mine, his dad was battling cancer, and it wasn't looking good. He was overwhelmed with that sadness and pain, and I'm overwhelmed with the sadness of losing my granddad. And we turned first to alcohol, and then increasingly to even harder stuff, including painkillers, opiates, with Vicodin and Percocet, all to try to numb this feeling of pain and losing track of who we really wanted to be and what we really wanted to do on this earth. Um, Still, the hardest thing I've ever been through is the months and years surrounding my grandpa Charlie's death. The challenge with all this, though, was I was still this high achiever character. I was still very ambitious, very energetic, and still thriving, at least by the 10,000 foot view. You wouldn't know that I was going through these challenges. This is a picture taken just a few months after my grandpa Charlie's death, where I'm literally winning the state debate championship. I'm the fourth consecutive Bainbridge Spartan to do it. Enormously proud moment for me. And I'm enormously struggling, even though you probably wouldn't see in this photo, or if you watched me at the tournament as I was holding court there, I was going through a lot of tough stuff. And it didn't stop in high school with these debate competitions. It accelerated, where me and my buddies drinking vodka, doing pills, getting into cocaine, and really just kind of going hard at this, all to kind of fill a void that we had. We hadn't really done that inner work. We hadn't built the maturity to deal with the stuff without substances. And so we would drown out those feelings. We would try to silence that voice and those complex feelings with substances. All the while, I'm continuing to succeed. I'm getting good grades. I earn a scholarship. I, um, am doing what you're supposed to do as a college kid in America, getting a job, earning leadership opportunities. All the while, I'm really struggling kind of before your very eyes. This photograph, this is my graduation. I am very intoxicated in this photo. At my graduation, I actually don't even remember it because my friends and I had drank too much and done drugs before the ceremony. And my family is there to celebrate me, and yet I'm somewhere else, and I'm able to kind of hobble it together. Um, all the while struggling, and all the while struggling kind of before your eyes, but hidden from view all at the same time. And so, ambition and addiction tied together, a dangerous combination, because sometimes you can miss the forest and the trees, and even someone you care about, you're not able to tell because it looks like they're doing well. Around this time, though, I hit a series of progressively deeper rock bottoms. I injured myself very badly by bumping into a sliding glass door while going for my 13th glass of wine at a dinner party. The sliding glass door collapses, and miraculously, I'm only cut in my hand and in my arm, and that requires 25 stitches. And lucky to survive that, but without even more serious damage for walking through a door. Um, that was pretty dumb, but that was not even in my top 5 dumbest things that I was up to. Um, the hardest part for me, though, and the true rock bottom, was I earned a scholarship to go to England to my dream school, the University of Cambridge, which was like this lifetime dream come true for me as a 22-year-old. And I proceeded, given the stress, the pressures I felt, the loneliness and the disconnect of moving to a new country to try to go do something big, and the weight of great expectations, I wasn't able to handle that in a healthy way. You're getting the theme here. And instead, I turned to drink and drugs once more. And the challenge in this situation is I actually had a scholarship stipend where I was actually getting paid to go to business school, this amazing opportunity, but I wasn't spending that money on rent or food. I was spending it on drink and drugs. And so before my first term is over, I am totally out of money. I've missed rent, and I'm being summoned to the provost's office. And instead of it being, another accolade that I'm used to earning when visiting the provost office, instead um, it's a different kind of meeting where he shares flatly, "You are a disgrace. I know what you've been up to, and if I could, I would expel and deport you." It felt like a thousand bricks just kind of bearing me right here. It was the first time that this, ambitious guy, that my ambitions and my addiction really were hitting and colliding, at a million miles an hour. Where this was the first moment where I realized, hey, like the vision I have for my life and being this, successful person, it can't fly with these dumb decisions I'm making, and with this chemical abuse and chemical dependence, with this addiction. It will kill any chance I have to be the kind of person that I want to be. And around this moment, depression, anxiety, all of this is flooding through. And I realized that I can't, alcohol and drugs aren't going to be the way that I process this. And luckily, I was able in this moment to kind of, something clicked in my mind as I had just started going to this wonderful church there in England, as I had met some really just good friends who had been through hard stuff themselves. I remember that little lesson from kind of boyhood to do the things I like to do, to find enjoyment and excitement by connecting with new people, with my teammates, and going forward, and by following my smile. And this is the real turning point for me, where I realized that addiction is giving up everything for one thing, for those for that drugs, whereas recovery is giving up one thing for everything. And that was a catalyzing, crystallizing moment when I realized that I'm giving up everything for this one thing, and instead I want to give up just this one thing for everything. And on December 29, 2011, I began a new journey. without alcohol, without drugs, seeking to make a better life for myself and to become the kind of person I want to be and the kind of believer that I want to be. Central to my recovery has been, faith, devotions. It's been connecting with wonderful folks in church communities. It's been daily prayer, and it's been mobile meditation. I feel closest to God when I'm actually out running, when I'm out in the trails, when I'm out in the mountains, when I'm out pushing myself. And I am smiling when I'm running. This is me having a good time running through the waterfront in Shanghai, China, where actually I moved after this rock bottom experience. I wanted a totally new environment to reestablish myself. And so, like the kind of Yahoo I am, I move halfway across the world to Shanghai, China, where I live for actually the next 7 years, building this business that Mother Kelly mentioned. And that gave me a sense of purpose, helping young people to become the best version of themselves. All the while I'm running to become a better version of myself. And what I love about running is I can go see places. I can get moving. I can channel the nervous energy into something a little bit more productive. And I love setting big goals with my running. This on the left is Bainbridge Island. That's my hometown. That's where I live. It's right off the coast of Seattle. And I wanted to become the first Yahoo to run all the way around Bainbridge Island. And so I set the goal, I trained, and then I ran 47 miles around the coastline of Bainbridge Island last August 18th. And it was really, really tough, but it was actually amazing because all these little kids came out to the shoreline to cheer on, this Yahoo running past. And um, that was the best part is doing this with, setting a big goal and then working with teammates and a little crew to make it happen as I went. And I also love running because it can take you anywhere. This is me in the Atacama Desert, which is actually the driest desert on planet Earth. This is in the mountains of Chile. And those are volcanoes behind me that I'm running from. They're not actually about to explode, but I like to tell the story like they are. I'm going, and the hardest part about this race is it's a long one. It's 125-mile race. So it's really, really, really long. It's an ultra marathon. And I'm carrying all of my gear on my back, which weighs like 15 pounds. So it's pretty heavy. I'm trying to run and shuffle through this, and it's really hot. I know Kansans, y'all have real summers down there, but this was 116-degree heat, which for a Seattleite, that is hot. And oh man, I was really burning up trying to move. But even with all that, I love it. Like that is what makes me smile. And so I'm following my smile. I'm loving this. I'm enjoying it. And as soon as I reach one goal, I want to set the next. That's how my mind goes. And that's what I do. So instead of being really, really hot, now I'm really cold. I am running a marathon across Antarctica. Whoa, who does that? What is wrong with you? Well, I love this stuff. If you look closely, I'm very cold in this photo, but I'm still smiling. I'm actually having a great time being extremely cold, running through Antarctica as part of what's called the World Marathon Challenge, where me and a group of 39 friends were trying to run 7 marathons in 7 days on 7 continents. And Antarctica was our first race, and this was the adventure of a lifetime. Where over the course of the week, really have to push and push and push as we travel from Antarctica to Cape Town, South Africa, Perth, Australia, Dubai, United Arab Emirates in Asia, over to Madrid, Spain for Europe, Santiago, Chile for South America, and then up to Miami for North America to finish off the 7 marathons, 7 days, 7 continents. And it was absolutely amazing. This is me at the finish line getting sprayed by my friends and my running sponsor to celebrate this, wonderful kind of hallmark. The best part was my parents actually came out to celebrate with me, which was a ton of fun. And it's a lifetime memory that for me symbolizes the beginning of the next journey, because after finishing this race, for the first time actually in a number of years, I had realized, look, I want to do more with my running. I want to not only achieve more kind of personally, but I want to do it for a bigger purpose than just putting in a bunch of miles and these feats of endurance. And so I remembered the dream that I had when I first ran an ultra marathon back in December 2011, the month I got sober. I had dreamed that one day I'm going to run from New York City back home to Seattle. I'm going to run from the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean. And the only way that I could ever achieve that dream is if I am able to stay sober and I'm able to stay off drugs, because you can't be your best self when you're doing that. And that was really the vision and the aim. All the while, as I've shared with friends my own journey from ambition and addiction to a path to purpose, I keep hearing from friends, wow, I've also had, this issue, or my brother, or, my husband, or my mother, my dad. There's someone in your life that's dealt with mental health challenges, that's dealt with addiction challenges. And I kept hearing that. And I kept hearing how there's so much misunderstanding, there's so much stigma. We, what can we do? And I've realized that my own journey, I want to better discover the challenges that we face as Americans with mental health and with addiction, and I want to play a role in destigmatizing. The stigma is so large that it's really hard to get help. It's hard to reach out. It's hard to acknowledge you have a problem for fear of judgment, for fear that people will look at you in a new, worse way, or that they'll question your morals, or question your parents or your upbringing. When in fact, it's oftentimes none of that. It's deeper, and it's all about mental health, and it's all about connection. And that's one of the beautiful things that I think church provides, is that community of support when times are good and when times are really rough and are really tough. And I, in the course of this run across America, I'm going to have a little film team. We seek to create a documentary about the state of America's mental health and addiction epidemics, and how we can better support those in need, because we all can play a role in better supporting those in our lives, in our communities, across Overland Park and beyond, that are facing tough stuff. And that's my mission. I'm aiming to start this spring. And I'm really, really both excited and terrified in equal measure of this, because it's gonna be the hardest thing I've ever done, but it's also, I think, the most meaningful purpose I've ever worked on. And so my hope is that God guides, every step, as I know He will, and that we're able to achieve something much bigger than any one of us, to better support the more than 40 million Americans, 1 in 7 Americans, that are dealing with alcoholism or substance addiction. With that, follow your smile. That has become the guiding light in my life. It's been how I've worked through anxiety, depression, and my fixation with ambition and addiction too. And so, for every one of us, it's going to look different. None of y'all want to run across the country. Who wants to do that? But there is something in your life that maybe you could spend a little bit more time doing to make you that much happier, more content, more fulfilled, and help you be even more of a beacon to those in your life. By following your smile, I think you can help others find theirs too. I wish each of you a very reflective Lenten season, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity to be with you today. Thank you.